Bear Claw Talisman. The Bear Claw Talisman is probably going to be your first talisman, and honestly, it's a solid way to start, because it makes Arthur way more durable throughout the entire game. This thing lowers the drain speed of your health core by 10%, which might not sound like much until you realize your health core is basically what determines how fast your health regenerates and how much punishment you can take before things get ugly. A 10% slower drain means you're going longer without eating food, surviving fights better, and just generally being tougher. It's not flashy, but it's useful from the moment you get it until the credits roll. Getting this one together requires 3 ingredients. First up, you need the legendary Bear Claw, which comes from hunting the legendary Barati grizzly bear. You can do this as early as Chapter 2, after the mission Exit Pursued by a Bruised Ego. So it's actually pretty accessible. The bear hangs out just above the second eye in grizzlies on your map, and as far as legendary hunts go, this one's relatively straightforward. Bring a rifle, aim for vital shots, and you're golden. Second ingredient is a silver chain bracelet, and this is random loot. You'll find these constantly while looting enemies, searching houses, or opening chests. So you probably already have this sitting in your satchel. If you don't, just rob a few homesteads or loot some O'Driscolls after a shootout. The third ingredient is where it gets a little more involved. You need a quartz chunk, and that requires doing a side quest called A Test of Faith. This mission has you finding dinosaur bones scattered across the map and mailing the coordinates to a lady named Deborah McGinnis. But here's the thing, you only need to send her the location of one dinosaur bone. Just one. Find a single bone, mail it in, wait a couple in-game days, and she'll send you back the quartz chunk. You don't need to finish the whole collection or anything crazy like that. Once you've got all 3 items, just head to any fence in the game and craft it for about $34.75. That's it. Permanent health boost for the rest of your playthrough. Bison Horn Talisman.
Welcome, mister. First time to my shop. If you need bait, I got it.
Now, if health is important, stamina is right up there with it, especially if you've ever tried sprinting across this massive map and watched Arthur wheeze like he's about to die. That's where the Bison Horn Talisman comes in. This one decreases the speed that your stamina core drains by 10%, which affects how long you can sprint, how long you can swim without drowning, and how much of a beating you can take in fights. Basically, it makes Arthur more athletic without you having to chug tonics every 5 minutes. The crafting materials are pretty similar to the Bear Claw. You need the legendary Bison Horn first, which comes from the legendary White Bison up in Grizzlies West, near Lake Isabella. Just use high-velocity ammo, aim for vital shots, and you're good. For the second ingredient, you need a silver earring. Same deal as the silver chain bracelet from before. This is random loot from enemies and chests. By the time you're actively looking for these talismans, you'll probably have like 6 earrings sitting in your satchel already. The game's generous with jewelry drops. The third ingredient is an abalone shell fragment, and this one's actually really easy. Head to Rhodes, find the abandoned house near the Rhodes Butcher north of Main Street, go inside, and search around. It's just sitting there waiting for you to pick it up. Once you've got everything, craft it at any fence for $38.50, and Arthur can suddenly sprint like he's training for the Olympics.
Boar Tusk Talisman.
Welcome, mister. First time to my shop. If you need bait, I got it.
So we've covered Arthur's health and stamina, but what about your horse? Because let's be real, your horse is your best friend in this game. The Boar Tusk Talisman is specifically for your horse, decreasing the drain speed of your horse's health and stamina cores by 10%. This means your horse runs longer, needs to be fed less often, and can take more of a beating during shootouts. Getting it requires hunting the legendary boar in Blue Water Marsh for the legendary Boar Tusk. Now, Blue Water Marsh is basically a swamp filled with alligators, mosquitoes, and bad vibes. The boar itself is aggressive and will charge at you the moment it spots you, so don't get cute trying to knife it or show off. Just shoot it with a rifle and move on with your life. For the second ingredient, you need a gold earring, which is, you guessed it, random loot. By now, you're probably seeing a pattern with these jewelry requirements. The third ingredient is cobalt petrified wood, and this one takes a little adventure. Head to the top left of Lake Isabella, up in Grizzlies West. There's a cave near the mountain. Go inside and you'll see a wagon sitting there. On that wagon is a box. Open it, grab the wood, and you're done. It's actually a pretty scenic area up there, so at least the trip is worth it for the views. Take all 3 ingredients to any fence, craft it for $31, and your horse will thank you by not collapsing during the next extended gunfight with the law. Alligator Tooth Talisman.
Well, what's eating you, partner?
Now, let's talk about combat. Because the Alligator Tooth Talisman is all about your Deadeye ability, which is honestly one of the most broken mechanics in the game. This talisman decreases the speed that your Deadeye core drains by 10%. And if you don't know why that's incredible, let me explain. Deadeye lets you slow down time, tag multiple enemies, and land perfect headshots, like you're living in the Matrix. A 10% slower drain means you can use it more often and for longer periods. For anyone who loves getting into massive shootouts with entire gangs, this talisman is absolutely essential. Here's the catch though. You can't get this one until Chapter 5, specifically after the mission that's Murphy Country. So this is definitely a late game talisman, but it's still worth grabbing the moment you can. The legendary animal part you need is the legendary alligator tooth, which comes from hunting the legendary bull gator in Bayou Noir. This thing is straight south of the L in La Grosse on your map, and let me tell you, this gator is massive, aggressive, and will absolutely kill you if you're not careful. Use a rifle with high velocity or express ammo. Aim for the head, and whatever you do, don't get too close, unless you want to become gator food. This is not a chill hunt. The second ingredient is a gold-jointed bracelet, which is random loot. By Chapter 5, you've probably looted half the state and have 20 of these in your satchel already. So this shouldn't be an issue. The third ingredient is where things get a bit tedious. You need vintage Civil War handcuffs, and these are tied to a side quest called Smoking and Other Hobbies, which is basically the cigarette card collection. You need to find or buy cigarette packs, collect the cards inside, complete an entire set, and mail it to a guy named Phineas T. Ramsbottom. A couple in-game days later, he'll mail you back the handcuffs. Once you've got everything, craft it at any fence for $40. Ravenclaw Talisman.
Should work. I trust nobody's missing this.
Next up, we have the Ravenclaw Talisman, which is a little different from the others. This one only requires one ingredient instead of 3, but that ingredient requires you to complete an entire side quest. So it balances out. What this talisman does is slow weapon degradation by 20%. And here's why that matters. Your guns get dirty in this game. The more you shoot, the more they degrade. And dirty guns do less damage and jam more often. You can clean them with gun oil, sure, but that costs money and takes time. Or you can just get this talisman and not worry about it nearly as much. A 20% slower degradation rate means you're cleaning your guns way less often, saving you money on gun oil and trips to the gunsmith. To get the one ingredient you need, the old brass compass, you have to complete the Geology for Beginners Stranger mission. This mission sends you on a treasure hunt across the entire map to find rock carvings. There are 10 of them total, and they're scattered everywhere, from mountains to cliffs to random spots in the middle of nowhere. Each carving shows these weird futuristic visions, and when you find one, you send the coordinates to a guy named Francis Sinclair. It's honestly kind of tedious, because you're basically playing hide and seek across multiple states, but the locations are fixed, so you can always look them up if you get stuck. Once you find all 10 carvings and send all the coordinates, Francis will send you a letter.
Read it, wait a bit for time to advance in the game, and then head to the quest marker that appears. You'll end up at Francis Sinclair's cabin, and inside you can loot the old brass compass sitting there. Take it to any fence, craft the talisman for $29, and your guns will stay cleaner for way longer. This is probably the most tedious talisman to get because of all the traveling involved, but the payoff is solid, especially if you hate constantly maintaining your weapons. Eagle Talon Talisman. Before we finish off, there's also the Eagle Talon Talisman, but you can only get this if you bought the special or ultimate edition of the game. If you bought the standard edition, it just doesn't exist for you. Sorry. What it does is increase your eagle eye duration by 5 seconds. If you have one of the special editions, it's automatically available to craft early on. If you don't, well, just pretend I never mentioned it. That's all I have for you guys today. If this guide helped you out at all, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future guides. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.